Welcome everyone, my name is 𝗁𝗂𝘁𝗃, I'm an agentic architect, and today I'm going to show you the true potential of what we can do when we combine OutSystems and AI in a full enterprise scale. I'm very excited about today's video because I'm going to finally show what I have been working in this last month. That's one of the reasons why I hadn't been publishing so many videos, but I'm very excited because I will be able to share with you the framework that I consider to be a way of agentic architecture in the future, and OutSystems is the perfect tool to do it. So let's start with just a very big small demo just for you guys to know what we will be dealing with it today. So let's see. This is 𝗁𝗶𝗶. Say hello to 𝗁𝗶𝗶, and let's start here a session.
Hello, Tiago. How can I help you with your work today?
Hi, 𝗁𝗶𝗶. Yeah, I need to know which factories do we have. Can you help me?
Tiago, could you give me a location or region to filter the factories? For example, do you want to check the ones around Rotterdam or anywhere else specifically? That way I can get you the most relevant list.
No, I just need all of them in general.
We have 3 factories in total. One in Amsterdam, one in Lisbon, and one in Porto. Let me know if you need more details on any of them.
Okay, that is important. Can you consider or can you memorize that the default factory for me should be the one in Lisbon?
Got it. Tiago, the default factory for you is now set to the one in Lisbon. If you need anything else about that factory or others, just let me know.
Okay, thanks. So the demo you guys just saw, the 𝗁𝗶𝗶, he is not really an innovative thing, right? Because you have already saw in previous videos when I picked the real-time API to create conversational agents, right? That can work with us directly, users, to bring a more user experience, right? The fact that we can talk with them and he talks back, we don't need to wait, we don't need to push buttons. So it gives a good experience, right? But what I really wanted to point out in this video is what it is happening under the hood. Because if you guys noticed, there was a diagram in the middle of the screen, and you could see a sort of arrows flashing depending on the direction of the information, what or who was talking with whom. And this is the special thing that I want to bring up today. What I call and prepare, and this has nothing to do with OutSystems. Yeah, I'm joking. It has everything to do with OutSystems. So the framework that I want to show you guys today is what I call the 3 agentic layer canvas. And this is basically a framework to help designing full layered agentic solutions with different sorts of agents placed in the different business applications that we might have. But let's now go into a bit more in detail about this 3 agentic layer canvas. So this basically started because when I was analyzing the different places where we could put AI inside OutSystems, I start noticing that there was a lot of possible solutions, right? So let's imagine that we have here the current scenario in a company. So we have inside OutSystems, we have a CRM application, we have an HR application, and we have an ERP. So each one of them have their own domains. So this factory, it follows up a domain-driven design. So it means that there are here 3 really or well separated domains. We have the CRM, the HR, and the ERP. And in all of them, we have here the different layers. So we have the different databases and the different entities, But we also have all the layer of logic, right? The validations, the automations, all the processes, timers, BPTs, etc. And then we also have the screens where the users interact with the applications. And despite of that, for some applications here or some domains, we can expose APIs, and for others, we consume APIs. So checking this environment here, right? What could we do with AI? So we could basically start it by having a sort of an agent on the application of the CRM, right? A sort of a sales chatbot that could perform some actions on the site, on that web page, to help the user find some products, find sales information related with sales orders, etc. But we could also, for example, have a bot or an AI agent to help some optimized process that was running on the background. For example, in case of having a new employee, to have an agent that would help to go inside the BPT or the onboarding process and perform some automatized tasks inside of it. So not related specifically with the UI, with an end application, but more in the background. We could also have an agent that could help, for example, the business intelligence team, right, to gather some information from data, to help producing some reports, etc. And looking outside our own OutSystems environment, we could even have an external agent from another company calling the APIs that we have in our CRM or in our ERP system to get some information, for example, of suppliers, or to have some information of his client account or opening orders, etc. But at the same time, we could also expose information if we wanted an external agent to react upon that information, right? So in this case, for example, on the HR, assuming that we would have a smart CV agent, that every time there was a change in the in an employee's information, he would trigger and create a new CV for that employee. So we could also use an exposed API. So if you look at all of these layers, we can see that we can put AI agents in a lot of places inside our applications, right? And we can put them in different layers because we can have different purposes for the agents. We can have agents that work more in the background, that they don't need specifically to interact with us humans, but we can also have conversational agents that they do need to interact with us because they will facilitate our lives and solve some specific issues. And so, due to the reason that I start noticing that we could have these different layers of agents, I came up what I call the three agentic layer canvas. And yes, this is based on the OutSystems, previous OutSystems 11 layer canvas, right? To have the UI, the logic, and the foundational level. With ODC, this began mostly to disappear because we now talk more in terms of apps and libraries, and inside even the apps, we are talking more in terms of putting apps has their own domain or subdomain of an application, so they can embrace a full stack of data, logic, and UI. But for the case of agents, I decided here to go back and create this three agentic layer canvas. So what is this and what is the purpose of this? So the first thing you guys can see is that we have three layers, right? As the name says. So we have the personal assistants, we have the business agents, and we have the integration and the technical agents. For this video today, we are not going to explore the integration and technical agents, so the layer more below. We are going to focus more between the personal assistants and the business agents. And why did I had the need to do the separation in the first hand? And one of the reasons was because I noticed that there were very two distinct reasons why I wanted to deploy an agent. And most of the times, those two reasons were dependent if the agent was supposed to interact with users and perform tasks on their behalf, or the other scenarios were that the agents were really more close to the business domains and they would perform tasks to optimize or to even help the business performing automatized tasks, right? So this was the reason why I first came up with these two layers, the personal assistant and the business agents. So what are the characteristics of them two? First, the personal assistants. We are talking here not about business specialized agents, but user specialized agents. So we are talking here about really personal assistants, so agents that, first of all, they have good conversational skills, they work in a multi-channel way and real time. So it's very important that they work real time. This means that they can engage with the user in a streamed way, like we saw, or if the user wants to do a push to talk, that's okay. They can also do that, but they allow having this model. But more important, they are models or they are agents that will get to know really well the user. So they will have memory, or as I prefer to call, a notebook, where they can register important information about the user. With time, they will begin to change the way they talk or change the way they interact with the user to fit more what the user likes. And basically the personal assistants will be the one that will do the bridge between the user and the business. But the really important thing here, the personal assistants, they are not expertise in domains. They simply know the other agents that they can talk with in order to get a specific information or perform a specific action, right? It's like that famous quotation that someone said, I think it was Churchill. I don't want to say it wrongly, but I think it was Churchill that said that I don't know about everything, but I have my contact list and phones where I can call anyone to give me the information that I need. So in this case, the personal assistant works the same way. So he doesn't know about domains, but he knows the agents that he can contact with. So this is the first layer. The second layer, what I call the business agents. So in this case, yes, now we are talking about agents that are really specialized in the domain that they are responsible for. So in this case, in the previous example, I talked to you guys about the ERP, the HR, and the CRM. So there would be an agent for each one of them. But in this case, doing already the bridge to the use case or the demo that you guys saw. In this case, we would have a maintenance app and a warehouse app. So this would mean that for each one of these domains, we would have an agent that could perform actions with the app, and they could call specific data, they could perform actions, and they basically can be triggered by any other agent. So this means that both a business agent or a personal assistant, both of them can ask something from another business agent. And a very important characteristic here is that these agents, they run on the background. So they are not streamable agents. They receive a message and they can execute functions, but they will reply also with data, not with streamable package, not audio. And for that reason, and also because I think this is the most correct way to develop this architecture, they do not talk with users. Users only talk with their personal assistants, and the personal assistants are the ones that call the business agents according to the needs. So this means that between the personal assistants and the business agents, there will be the need for them to cooperate well. So they will need to know what the business agents can do and when to call with what rules. So this is basically what I'm going to show you guys today. Another important point here is that this does not influence directly OutSystems, because in OutSystems we are using a different way of calling actions, right? The way we call service actions, or similar to that, it's different from the outside world. But if we would compare this to the protocols that exist nowadays to use in AI, we can see that between the personal assistants and the other agents, we are mostly talking about an agent-to-agent protocol. So what it means is that they will talk in terms of capabilities that they can deliver. So a certain agent can expose to the other agents what he can do. I can do this, these are my capabilities. And then between the agents, they simply talk with each other, sending messages to each other and getting the responses. So we are talking more close to an agent-to-agent protocol. But between the business agents and the respective apps, we are not talking anymore about agents talking with other agents. We are talking about agents talking with systems. So in this case, we are more close to what is nowadays the MCP, the Model Context Protocol, because the Model Context Protocol defines the way an agent talks to a system, exchanging tools, prompts, or resources. So in this case, the way the maintenance agent or the warehouse agent will interact with the apps are using functions. In this case, it will not be functions because it will be service actions, because I'm already using the agent workbench, but this resembles more to the MCP protocol. So let's now go and check the business case that I've built here for the demo. Okay, going now directly into business, so to say. So I have a company that produces equipment for factories, and it also performs maintenance of those equipment on the clients that they have. So for this use case, I've created, as I said, I've created two applications. As you can see, the maintenance app and the warehouse app. And these are very simple applications. They were created by the app generator or mentor. And basically the first application, the maintenance support system, this is the application that deals with everything related with maintenance. So in here you can see what maintenances were done and when, by whom. We can also see the list of factories that we have in the application, and you might already recognize some of the names here. But we also can see the maintenance that were performed or that are scheduled. We can check some reports of those maintenance, and we can also take a look into the products. But you guys may notice here that we can only take a look, and the reason for that is because products is not in the domain of the maintenance. So this means that yes, we have here a screen to facilitate the looking. So if the users want to check, they don't need to go to another application. But in this case, the product information is not inside the maintenance domain, it's inside the warehouse. So we have another application for that is the warehouse management system. So in here, we can check the different products that we have, and we can also check their inventory, so the quantity that exists in which location, and we can see it here. And we can also perform some order requests for specific products. So we have these two applications, right? And I'm simulating that I am a field engineer. So I go to the factories I schedule maintenance, and then I go to the factories and I execute the maintenance that are scheduled. And basically, this is the flow of the simulation or the demo that I'm trying to do. And so if we take a look again in here, so we have the maintenance app, the warehouse app. We have the maintenance agents that currently they are still not visible, of course, because they run on the background, but we will go on them afterwards. And then I have my personal assistant, right? So let's take a look into my personal assistant. And this is, yeah, basically, this is OP, so my personal assistant. And currently he is sleeping, but you can see that visually you will be able to check the different actions that he is doing, if he is speaking, if he is listening, if he is calling another agent or working, as I like to call. And you can also see some information here. So for example, he has the capability of writing things in a notebook about the user. So for example, he already has this here from my previous interactions where I say that my name is Tiago and I'm from Lisbon, but I'm currently living in Rotterdam. And as you guys might remember from the demo before, he also memorized that my default factory is the one in Lisbon. We can also check the capabilities that he has in terms of tools, what he can do. So in this case, he only has currently 3, but the goal is to extend this to more. But right now he can create, delete, and update personal notes. So the notes that you guys see here. And then we have the agent networking. So to which agents can my personal agent talk with and to do what? So you can see that his current agent network is the maintenance agent and the warehouse agent. And he has here a set of instructions to when he should call a specific agent. So this is the simulation, right? And now we can play a bit with him. So let me start a session and then we will check the tools that exist underneath it.
Hello, Tiago. How can I assist you today in the field?
Okay, so you guys, first you can see I muted myself for him to not hear me, but you guys can see first we have this diagram where we can see myself as a user, my personal assistant, then the connection that he has with the other agents, and also a tool icon here for when he calls tools or when he calls the maintenance agents. And you will be able to see when I interact with him, the flow that is being taken. And then we also have here the logs where we can see the types of messages or interactions that exists. Also, if there are errors or if there are information that gets lost in the middle, you guys can check it here. For example, you can see what he asks from another agent and what the other agent replies to him. Okay, and these are the 2 features. And then we also have here a normal text area if you prefer to write instead of chatting. Okay, so now let's interact a bit with him. Hi, OP. Okay, so I need to schedule a maintenance for tomorrow. So we are talking on the 25th of September at 10 a.m. because I need to replace the fire pump. The current one is too old. It needs to be replaced. So can you schedule the maintenance for me?
It looks like there was an issue with the factory address when trying to schedule the maintenance. Could you confirm if there's any update or variation in the address? Or do you want me to check the list of factories to confirm the official record?
Yes, the factory where we need to make the maintenance is the one in Lisbon, so you can use the Lisbon.
The maintenance has been successfully scheduled. Here are the details. Maintenance code MT18450 for replacing the fire pump, scheduled for the 25th of September at 10 a.m. in the Lisbon factory. Everything is set.
Okay, so let's check if in reality there was a maintenance scheduled for tomorrow. And we can see that, yes, here it is, scheduled for tomorrow at 12, because it's the the time zone difference. And we can see replace the fire pump, as the current one is too old and needs replacement. Yeah, he was very literal to what I said, but you guys can see here that he created indeed the maintenance for to be executed. And so this is a very cool example of what we can do when we create a framework like the tree agentic layer canvas, because from now on you will be able to start creating the different agents on the different domains of the applications, and then they will grow with time. So the more capabilities you give to him, the more they will be able to do things. But then you can also have your personal agent to make the bridge between them, because to be honest, it's really too much to give it to one agent. So it's not expectable to have an agent alone with all the knowledge of a business and having good results upon it. So even OpenAI more recently released a study where they concluded that the future of AI is not one big general agent or general AI agent, but in reality, a team of narrow AIs, narrow agents with smaller capabilities, smaller in size, so it's also faster, cheaper, and more sustainable. And then there is an orchestration on all these agents working together to achieve better results. And this is exactly what we are doing here. So let's now take a look of what is happening in OutSystems. Welcome to ODC. And as we discussed before, so we have the different domain applications, right? And in this case, you guys can see here the maintenance support system and the warehouse management system. And then on top of those applications, we have the different agents. And the first thing you guys might notice here, it's okay because it doesn't determine the effectiveness or the possibility of you guys doing what you need to do, but you guys might already notice that this is an agent application. So this is one of the new features of Agent Workbench. So basically this means that we have this new type of application that is of type agent. It doesn't have screens, it doesn't have UI, but it has data. So we can store data there, and it has already pre-built actions for us to memorize, to add memory, to get data, or to, and this is the coolest thing, call server or service actions. So this means that agents from now on in here, they will be able to call directly our service actions. And this is really cool and really nice work done by OutSystems, because so far the only way for us to do this was if we would using JavaScript and JSON transformation, because it was really hard to deal with dynamic JSON structures. So we would have to dynamically write in the JSON the different tools that the agents could give. We would have to call the agent, we would have to check if the response is of type tool, and then we would have to have a sort of a switch to say if the tool is this, call this action, if it is this, call this action. So it would have to be everything done in the code, and it took a lot of time. I could say to myself that it would, for each function that I would have to do, it could take me up to 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, just configuring a tool and the action. And with the new Agent Workbench, we can do this literally in 10 seconds. Okay, so yes, so we now, let's go back. We have the systems, right? Straightforward. There is no issue here. It's a normal application. But if you go here to the service actions, you may see that we have these 5 service actions. And in this case, these were the capabilities that I decided in my use case to give it to the agent, right? So I've created this service action to allow to add reports to certain maintenance. For example, this one, the get factories, you guys saw it. Schedule the maintenance, that was also one that I used. So you see these 5 service actions. And this is basically what I give permission for an agent to perform inside of a certain domain. So you may notice that I do not give the agent the direct access to databases or to everything that it's possible to do inside the application. So all these actions, they are closed actions. It's not possible for the agent to call. He only calls what I give him to call. And you can see that it's inside the service actions that I handle the data that I want to give him with the correct structures. So we even have here the structures that I give to the agent. So he can even receive information directly from the database, protecting this way, for example, internal IDs or even database schemas. So we have the actions here. If we go also to the warehouse management system, you can also see in this case, get products, get product information, submit order request. And then we have the different agents. So if we go here to the support agent, we may see that we reference the service actions and we isolate. In this case, this was an option currently because this is still in the EAP. So I isolate these actions inside server actions. But this is the cool thing when we have this task of calling the agent. So this is the when we call this call maintenance support agent, what he does is call this agent task. And inside this agent task, this is pre-built by OutSystems, by the way. So when you create an agent, he already gives you this, right? So we have here the possibility to give grounding data, so data initially to the agent when we are calling him. We then build the messages that we send to him, and then we call the agent and we store in the memory if we are talking about the same session. So this memory is really important because it allows the agents to continuously talk with each other and they memorize the previous conversation. So if I say, for example, give me the list of factories, then the agent replies back, which location do you prefer? And then I said to him, it can be any location. So I will call him 2 times. But when I say it can be any location, I want him to memorize, or I want him to know that this is the continuation of the previous call. And we can do this by storing the memory. But if we go here to the call model, right? So this is a new type of ball that we have here. And so inside, if we double click it, in here, I can specify the actions that the agent can call. And this is really cool because this is what allows an agent to call as many times as you want the actions that are here and then come with a response. And this is a really cool thing because, as I said, and I repeat, it is up for the agent to decide if he calls one tool and then replies with an answer, if he calls one tool, then with the result of that calls another tool and then decides to reply. So he will decide until when he wants to call tools or reply to the user. And of course, you can set some conditions for him to stop calling the tools, but in this case, I don't want that. I want him to really continue calling the tools if he feels the need of it. But you guys can see that it's really easy and fast to add the actions. We just need to come here, add actions, and select an action to give him. Another very important thing here, and this is really cool for the people that already follow the best practices of OutSystems, and it will demand for the people that didn't do that so well to start doing it. Because you guys might ask, how does the agent knows the what the action does under the hood, right? Because he does not have access to the code of this action. He can only call the action, right? So how does he know when to call or what to give this action? And the answer is the beautiful description attribute of the actions. So if I open here, you may see that I've added a description to this action. So the description add information to the report of a maintenance by giving information, and then I put here in the two inputs that he can receive, I can ask to pre-generate by AI what he thinks that it should be used here, but it always, or I can put a fixed value, sorry, but more important, you may see that he uses the same, sorry, it was not this one, yeah, it is, he uses the same details that we give in the description. So developers, from now on, these actions that are going to be used by agents, they need to be well specified in the description, what they do, what they need to do, and the inputs that are necessary. And for example, I can already tell you guys that I need to improve this get factory server, right? Because he receives, sorry, not the get factory, but the schedule maintenance. Because you might notice that when I asked him to create the maintenance, he said that there was an error because he didn't know the location, or there was no location with 𝗪𝗵𝘆𝗀𝗃𝘀𝘀 number something something. And the reason for that is because in here I'm only expecting to know the factory location and not the address. So I just want Lisbon, and he checks if there is a factory with the name Lisbon. But because I do not detail this so well here, so I just put factory location, and I do not specify here anything about which type of location am I expecting, right? The agent, he tried to call this action by giving the full address. And it gave an error back saying that there was no factory location of 𝗪𝗵𝘆𝗀𝗃𝘀. And then I had to say, if you guys notice, I said, yes, that's the factory in Lisbon. So use Lisbon location. And then, yes, it went again. And this time they used the Lisbon and it went well. So you guys might already see that by testing, I was able to notice that I need to improve the way I describe the section for the agent to know. So these are the business agents that we have. We have two business agents here. And when this will be released to the public, I challenge everyone to really start using the agent application, the agent workbench capabilities, because this will completely change the way we introduce AI into the projects. It will be really simple to do this. Okay. Now, just finalizing, I have then the field personal assistant. And I will not deep dive into this, but basically just to show that I'm using the real-time agent that I've shown in the previous videos. I've added some more tweaks in the real-time agent. So right now he can also, there is also a trigger for when he changes states. So now he has sleep, talk, speak, listening, work, and thinking. He has these 6 states. So whenever he changes a state, it calls the consumer. And so this is why when I have the UI that you guys saw, it's not possible to see here, but the UI of my agent, so this one here, that is why you guys can see that he changes the animations when he's doing, and also the arrows. It's possible for you guys to see where is the what is happening and where. And yeah, that's it. The rest of it, it's fancy UI, fancy animations. I used a lot of SVG. I used a lot of OpenAI or ChatGPT to help me create these SVGs animations. So that's also a cool way to use AI. and the rest is basically what our business as usual. So we have here the notebook that is stored per user. So this is a really cool thing, because if a colleague of mine uses this application because he logs in with another user, the assistant will be loaded with different notebooks from him. So it will be a different agent, because he will have the rules saying the other person, user, his name is Peter, he lives in London, and yeah, every time there is a conversation with him, he likes to start with a joke about engineers. So yeah, he stores the notebooks separate by user. And then we have some control statics to help the build of this. So yeah, I just wanted to recap here some things, so let's do that. So an important thing here is that you guys might notice that we are close to one conference, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted really to rush to share this video the week before, because I want this to be really a topic that you guys would challenge me in one. So feel free to talk with me about this during the conference. I love this topic. Personally, it's one of my favorites inside the AI world. All this concept of agentic architecture, this is one of my favorite ones. So feel free to throw me all the questions that you might have about this. I'm also evolving this framework. I hope that I will be able to work also with OutSystems about this to try to help evolving the platform around this framework. But just to recap, remember 3 agentic layer canvas. This means that we have the personal assistants, we have the business agents, and we have the foundational agents, or in this case I call integration and technical agents. These technical agents or integrations, they are basically agents that are really specialized integrating with external systems. So we are talking about in situations that you need an agent to have really good knowledge about SAP, about the APIs of the SAP and the tools to call that. In this case, it can connect to an MCP server of SAP. Or for example, imagine that you want to have an agenda assistant that he is really specialized in creating meetings, sending emails, or things like that, and he is really trained to be really good at it. So imagine that you schedule a meeting, or you want to schedule a meeting, talk about this, and then you don't give any user to invite. He can confirm back saying, hey, I notice you want to schedule this meeting about this topic, but you are not inviting anyone. Who should I invite? So he can be really expert in that type of situations. And so we have these layers, these 3 layers: the personal assistants, business agents, and personal assistants. They are user-friendly assistants, so they are experts talking with us humans. They are conversational models, real-time models, so they stream, and they are multi-channel, meaning that you can give them at the same time audio, text, images, and they can at the same time also call functions, send text, as you guys saw in the chat, or send audio. And they are the bridge of the users to the business. And then we have the business agents, that they are experts in each of the domains, right? And they will be the ones performing the actions necessary, despite if it is to get information or to execute actions. They will be the responsibles of each domain, and they are the ones that the personal assistants will talk to. So it will not be possible for people, users, to talk directly to business agents. I hope that you like this video, that you find this insightful. I really want to work this and continue exploring this in the next months. So feel free to ask me things. Feel free to give me also ideas of how this can evolve. Feel free to also challenge me on this idea, how it would work with this or how it would work with that, right? So yes, I need your help to evolve this framework, the tree agentic layer canvas. And see you guys at one conference. Really excited to be part of it. Go check my session if you guys want. I have a session over MCP and how to implement MCP in OutSystems. And thanks a lot for everything, for all the support, and see you guys. Bye.